As you headed in the role. This question. Let's see. The question for us.
You guys trust us. You forwarded this message.
That's the one I forwarded.
Yeah. But here, wait.
Wait, click. Yeah. Yeah. That's sure.
This is we don't trust it because that's why they do all the stuff.
I cleaned out myself. I'm trust. You have the IT guy here. Yeah, Chris is sweet.
We do have that.
We can have an IT guy from all the office.
Here. There we go.
Yeah, there you are.
There I am. And
Well, yes or no?
I don't have it.
Yeah, it's a little. It's like click here for the agenda.
Yeah, I'm just gonna click here for the agenda. Oh, mine didn't have the agenda. It's got a link to the agenda, but mine had the agenda attached.
Okay.
So you're all.
Yep. Good. All right. It is 9:31. We'll call the Waseca County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Everyone would like to silence himself.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone this morning. We will start if there is anybody here for public comment. Public comment, I don't believe so. So then we would move on to presentation. So smart transportation, Don, right? And
Kirk Tara.
Tara.
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
This
Have an information sheet.
Good morning. My name is Don White. I'm the operations manager for Smart Transit in both Waseca and Steele County. And we appreciate the opportunity to visit once a year and give an update on where we are as far as Smart Transit within our community. I did pass out a sheet with some of the bullet points of some of the things I'd like to highlight today. This is our 11th year serving the community, and we think it's been a great plus. And I'll tell you what, we enjoy it. Our drivers and passengers, they become friends, and it's been, I think, wonderful for both entities. So far in 2025, we've delivered approximately 11,000 rides, and that was through the month of September. So things going well in that area, but we are hoping to increase those numbers and expand. The reason I say that is because we have expanded as far as our drivers are concerned. We're now up to 7 drivers, and we just hired 2 new drivers, one of them being our former mayor, Roy Sir. Our service in Waseca, we do have right now 3 buses on the road. And we do get a lot of questions as to how those situations work. So the route bus runs 7 to 5. That runs Monday through Friday, and it's basically that. It will stop at the same spot during the hour, every hour from 7 to 5. And that is people will just show up at those particular designated locations and they can get a ride. So we do offer that one route bus. We do offer 2 demand buses, which will go from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And those buses, it's a little bit different scenario. They will call our dispatch, which is located in Austin, and they set up a ride. So in that particular situation, we can come to them. Maybe they need a ride from their home, they need a ride from their work location, they need a ride going to a store. The demand bus is there so we can service them, to door-to-door service. It's a different entity than the route. We are working on the addition of a 4th bus in Waseca, which will be fantastic. We can really expand our coverage. It will be working 4 hours a day in the afternoon, so we can cover some areas right now that are fairly busy. So that will be happening most likely middle of this month. So we'll be adding that 4th bus. That 4th bus will also be offering a shuttle service between our clinic here in Waseca and Albert Lee. So our transit manager, Kirk Kuchera, will expand on that a little bit, but we're kind of excited about that because we can offer kind of a medical situation there as well. This year, we were able to service more kids than we ever have. We're up to 35 school-age students. We service kids going to Hartley, Sacred Heart, WIS. Some go to the high school, some to community ed, some to teen academy. So this has been wonderful for us with the expansion of drivers, and now with another bus, we've been able to help out a few more of the kids, which has been a big need within the community. Some they just can't. The bus situation just doesn't work for them. So this is a great alternative, and we're very excited that we can offer more kids services. The final bullet point, I just put that in there because we do service a lot of passengers that are disabled, and it's a very important situation, especially for them, for people who have a walker or a wheelchair. Their biggest concern is, how am I going to get on the bus? How is this whole thing going to work? Am I going to be able to get to where I need to go with my wheelchair or with my walker? And each of our drivers are trained in helping each individual to get on the bus, strapping in their chairs, assisting them in any way they can. So we're very proud of that, the fact that we can serve this area of need within the community. We traveled about 38,000 miles this year, which has been great. And we do service all of Waseca County. The majority of what we do is within the city, but we do service, we'll go to Janesville occasionally, we'll go to New Richland occasionally. So we love the opportunity to do that and expand our services. I did bring along a couple of customer stories, some of the people that we do serve, just some examples. Donna is a resident in Colony Court. She loves to get out. She gets into the community. She uses a walker, so she needs, transportation that's convenient for her situation. We provide an affordable and safe alternative for her, not only during the week, but she loves to go to church on the weekend. She doesn't have any way to get there. This is how she gets there each and every week. So it's wonderful that we're able to help out Donna. Taylor is a single mom. She was concerned with the fact that her kids had to walk several blocks to get to a bus stop. Well, she turned to us, and Smart Transportation is able to get right to her front door. We pick up her kids, we get them to and from school, and we don't depart until the kids are safely in the door. And she's in a situation where she can't accompany them. So she's very appreciative, and that's kind of a story that we really love. We're really able to help in the situation. Melody, she doesn't have the ability to drive, but she needs to get to her job. So she sets up a ride on our demand bus. She goes 5 days a week, and she goes to and from work, and she relies on the service because at the time of day she needs to get there to open the store. There's really no other alternative. So we do our best to get her to and from work, and she's been a very consistent rider. And last is Ruth. She lives in her own home. She uses a wheelchair. She doesn't drive. She relies on the bus. We take her everywhere. She goes to church, the senior center. She plays bingo, a lot of medical appointments, grocery shopping, anywhere she needs to go. She's over 55, so she can purchase a pass, which is $30, and she receives unlimited rides. So just some of the examples of some of the people that we service. And again, we're looking to expand and continue to cover as much of Waseca, as many folks as we can possibly help. That's basically our number one goal for coming up for late 2025 into 2026. So I've kind of covered the ground that I needed to cover. I can turn it over to our transit manager, Kirk Cherry, who will run through some of the other items, but thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Kirk Cherry, so I oversee all 4 counties for SMART. As Don said, we've been in the business here for 11 years. Prior to that, it was smaller entities that provided the transportation. I just wanted to provide a quick big picture of kind of some of the things that SMART is either working on or working some challenges some challenges that we're working through. So as Don mentioned, we're kind of partnering with Mayo right now. They reached out to us a couple months ago with some cuts that they're going to be seeing in Albert Lea with their services. So you'll have more individuals coming into Waseca here for same day operations. I don't know the specifics, but they're going to be coming from Albert Lea on our bus free of charge to the passenger. With that partnership with Mayo. We've been doing a shuttle service between Austin and Albert Lea for the last about 7 years now, and that's been going well. That's going to start with 1 day a week and then possibly expand as needed. A couple other things, we're working with MnDOT, who is our grantee for the services we provide as a public transit provider. And of course, we're dealing with some state and federal budget cuts. So that's kind of a concern as we look forward, especially into 27 and beyond. So, there are going to be some cuts to transit, and we're trying to kind of maneuver through that and what's that going to look like with MnDOT and the Office of Transit and Active Transportation. Ultimately, we're going to work hard to combat, those cuts and then also the severe increases we've seen over the last few years. Without raising fares for passengers. We haven't raised fares now for passengers for quite some time, and we're hoping to continue that. That said, we are going to be seeing an increase in our local share that MnDOT has provided us with. And then, of course, we've seen increased costs like everyone has. I think the biggest one to note, though, is we're going to be looking at about a 350% increase to the cost of a bus from just 5 years ago. In about 2 years, the local share for the capital costs on those is going to be going up, and bus prices alone have gone up about 140% in the last 4 years. Maintenance costs, of course, are increasing, wages, health insurance, all the stuff that everybody's dealing with. But those are just things that we're battling with, and we really want to try to keep the fares low. We understand that the individuals in the community that rely on us are oftentimes low income, elderly that are on a monthly budget. Disabled individuals, as Don mentioned. So we're just going to continue to strive and work through those the best we can. I'd be happy to take any questions if there are any before we let you advance to the next individual.
Said $30 for an unlimited. Is that monthly?
It is. It's a calendar month. Yeah. So it's from the first to the end of the month. Unlimited rides on the raw bus. Yep.
Okay. And so. Go ahead.
Are you looking at some point maybe with Mayo taking people to Mankato as well? Is there a route?
We're always looking at what the demand is. So we track all of our denials, anybody that calls in, and we track all that data and then make decisions based on that. Certainly, if there was a high need for something like that, we would do that. We did have, prior to COVID, we offered what we called a circle run, which was twice a month. We went to Mankato with one of our buses. Even prior to COVID, the demand for that really kind of tapered off. We were only transporting maybe 1 or 2 at most for those trips. And then once COVID hit, we stopped, and we never really got a lot of requests for it to come back. So we haven't started it. That wasn't necessarily medical. That was more just getting to Mankato for retail and different things.
That's what I'm thinking, because Mayo's becoming more specialized in each one of their communities. Waseca is going to be more of an eye optical area, surgeries, and their radiation up north to, I think, to Prague. I think that's the next one. So I'm just thinking maybe if there's a chance somehow to kind of. And then if we put into it, we have our mental health individuals that need to get appointments as well. So
Yeah, for sure. We have a great partnership with Mayo, honestly, in all of our communities. So something that we'll always, take a peek at, and if there's demand there, we'll definitely do what we can.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you considered a nonprofit?
We are. We're owned and operated by Cedar Valley Services, which is headquartered in Austin, but they have offices in Albert Lea and Owatonna as well. They've been around since the 60s. Vocational rehab for adults with disabilities is their prime focus. But of course, as we've kind of been talking about here, individuals with disabilities, transportation is their biggest barrier to either work or just be a part of the community. So in 2004, they got involved in public transportation in Albert Lea, and then later expanded into other communities when MnDOT consolidated transit agencies. Yep.
On the disability individuals, when they buy grocery stuff, are your drivers able to get out and help them move groceries? Are you gonna allow that or?
Yeah, so we, under the ADA, we do reasonable accommodations. So it is something that we will assist with. All of our drivers are fabulous at that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're definitely helping people out as needed. We won't go as far as going, into their homes with them, but we certainly do everything we can under that reasonable modification rule with the American Disabilities. Yeah.
Are you guys able to buy discount fuel?
So here in Waseca, we get it through the county.
Through the county.
Yeah.
We sell up
Through the
spot.
Yeah, yep. We've been doing that since we've started.
Okay.
Yep. In other areas, Waseca is the only place we do that. In other areas, we do a procurement. So we procure our fuel in the other 3 counties we operate in. And we either go through like a Quick Trip or a other vendor, but we do get discounted fuel through that procurement process.
Well, this may be a question for, I don't know, Commissioner Krause, or if they got a credit card for the fuel line that we sent out at Crystal Valley, would they get dividend checks back from there? Dividend on fuel?
On the fuel. Can't answer that one.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a fuel island that got put in out at Crystal Valley.
Okay.
And I don't know if you have a Crystal Valley credit card for fuel. I don't know if there's a dividend or any type of a kickback.
You could check into that. Also with Quick Trip, they do have a Fleet One card, if you are aware of that.
Yeah, we do get,
Okay.
we get a 12-cent discount with Quick Trip right now when we use that. So yeah.
Cause that adds up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, our fuel budget. Yeah. Our fuel budget's like $500,000 a year.
Right.
Total. So yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Any other questions?
Other questions for this gentleman? Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yeah, really appreciate it, taking the time to hear us today.
And it's good to hear, I would think this Mayo thing could be pretty substantial for you as far as, you can set the rates there to hopefully you're helping them out, but hopefully keep your rates lower for your residents.
Correct.
If we got a decent contract with them.
Yeah, they've been pretty good to work with so far. So yeah, we're pleased with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Perfect. Well, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Okay, and then we've got Blue Plus audit results. Consider.
Good morning. I actually brought 2 different audit results today, and just a reminder, we have a third, which is direct state audit that happens periodically as well. So today, in front of you, just the results from our Blue Plus audit first. Our managed care organizations do perform audits for case management, care coordination services that we provide and have under contract. Blue Plus came and out of 16 elements, only 1 required a documented improvement plan. There were 9 areas of findings, which are identified needs, areas needing improvement, and many of our improvements and audit misses were recognized by Blue Cross as results of changes to the mid-choice assessment process and delays in figuring out how that indicated different items. So there was no concern on the Blue Cross end about the things that they were seeing. The mandatory improvement and finding areas are included in the results that you have. And a corrective action plan has been created and approved, and it outlines a process for internal chart audits to catch misses earlier, increasing our overall compliance with CMS regulations. I can certainly attempt to answer questions, but I'm not the expert in this area.
Was Sam the one that was?
Sam Langer is our
Yeah,
senior services, who's in charge of both of these audits.
okay. Overall, would you say then it was a successful audit?
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
are you considered?
No, we were pleased with the results. We always we love to serve our residents, and there's no concern about the service we're providing to our residents. The concerns are usually about how we document what we're doing. So in one of the examples was that the MinChoice's assessment process had some changes where it wasn't feeding a different area of the assessment. So you input in one spot, and then later it would feed over to another location so that you would have a reminder that you needed to do something additional with that. So one of the examples is if in the front part you say the resident wears corrective lenses, later you have to say why and what you're doing about making sure that you continue to have corrective lenses. So our team often gets a little bit frustrated with the amount of paperwork compared to the amount of service they're providing. And most of the things that we were seeing was related to that. It wasn't that the clients weren't getting what they wanted, but instead that we just say, and they have been getting corrective lenses and will continue to do so. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. But
As I prepared for this, I was very interested and was hoping you'd go down that rabbit hole a little bit, because I know on the AMC side, as we talk about cuts at the federal level and how that's going to look in Minnesota as it rolls down to county services. There's going to be some pretty intensive work done around the technology piece. And we heard that at our last AMC gathering, that the technology piece for in and around our social services, from SSIS to MinChoices all the way down the line, they're old, they don't work very well, they're not interoperable, they're not intuitive. And one of the big pushes is going to be around this issue of errors. Is it really an error if the system won't do it? So none of this surprised me at all. I'm glad that and was confident that our people are taking care of our people. But this is just one little example of what is happening statewide, not just in public health, but in human services with a lot of our state platforms.
But didn't they pass enough money to upgrade that?
For one system out of 7, there's 6 that still need upgrading. One from the 1980s, mid 80s. And actually, what I understand from folks who are the experts, I think it's this MinChoices one, the one from 2007, one of the later ones, is really almost harder to work with than the old DOS ones.
Correct.
Because they fixed it by making the interface with the consumers seem like it's working, but on the back end, somebody is still grabbing a fax from somewhere and having to input the information. So these systems are really, really old.
And very complex.
And very complex. And so even when you look at that Medicaid issue around errors and how much the state is going to have to take on for extra burden if they're at a certain level of errors, it's like is it an error? This isn't fraud. Somebody makes a mistake in a system that's super hard to use. So anyway, sorry to go down that rabbit hole, but I think this is just a perfect example of the further discussions we're gonna have. Why?
And just for volume kind of idea, we have about 23 clients on this service to request. So the other issue is that if we're doing an audit, we're doing a small sample size and we have one place that box wasn't checked, then we do the corrective action plan because the one person didn't meet the requirements. So just another kind of addition to that particular audit.
Any questions on the Blue Plus audit? Plus, yeah, so.
Yeah, South Country, Health Alliance, very similar. We're doing really well. Couple of elements again that we need to spend a little bit of time on. This sample size is a little larger, so around 120 plus or minus. And then, excuse me, out of 84 elements, we had 12% that did not meet standards in just 2 categories. And again, same kind of corrective action plan that we're going to look at those chart audits and try and find those places where the systems aren't talking or that we missed a queue in a sooner time frame so that we can be compliant with CMS. And again, this is about CMS compliance and compliance with the managed care contracts and not necessarily about customer service. And we have not received word yet when the state will be doing our audit. They just that should a lot of the plates are confident.
So on the South Country audit, I would imagine the blue boxes in that are where you had a corrective action plan.
Correct, yep. Those are items that needed addressing in one of the chart audits. So what we end up doing is putting together paper, an Excel file or a checklist that says these are the things we're going to check. And these are how often we're going to pull files to check them. And so we just make sure that those items are on there. And we usually have other things that we also additionally want on there because it provides better service, or we've had maybe concerns in the past about things or things that are maybe difficult because they don't generate a checkbox. These our chart audits are fairly comprehensive.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else?
For questions? No.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, sir. All right, then we will move on to approval of the agenda. Is there anything? Commissioner Walter.
I'll just make note that we amended the agenda to move closed session to the end of this meeting.
Right.
So I will make that because that just happened yesterday. So
Yeah,
that
it was originally scheduled as a previous meeting to this and consolidated it to the end of the agenda.
so nothing other than changing the timing of that.
Commissioner Krause.
No, sir, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Margaret.
No, Chair.
Commissioner.
No, sir.
Nothing from staff, admin. All right, then I would look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
It's been moved, seconded to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of county board minutes. We got a bunch of them here. We got meeting minutes, August 5th, work session minutes, August 12th, closed work session minutes, August 12th also, work session minutes, August 19th, and commissioner meeting on the 19th of August.
We'll make a motion to slate on.
Okay, is there a second?
There is.
Been moved by Commissioner Milbrook, second by Commissioner Walter to approve the board minutes as a slate, as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consent agenda. We have approval of the bills. Fund transfer requests, public health. Two of those. A fund transfer request, public health, and a fund transfer request, community corrections. Everyone's had a chance to look them over. And like to approve them, I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve, Hardin.
Second, Crowe.
And moved second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll move into the action items. Opioid advisory bylaw. You're up again.
Here's quite a bit today.
A lot of activity today. Yeah.
So, the first item we have here is, a result of the convening our opioid advisory council. We've been meeting over the last few months and are, finally at a place where we are comfortable as a group with the proposed bylaws that you have in front of you. Not that there was a lot of disagreement, but just making sure we had all of the right things in there. And they've been presented to the council and the council has approved them to be forwarded to you as the board of commissioners for consideration. They do outline the structure the committee will provide for its ongoing work to inform the use of opioid settlement funds. We would ask that you approve them as the governing body or city that work.
Part of that committee, we've gone through quite a few of these, and these kind of follow statewide on what everybody else is using. That's kind of a boilerplate with our Waseca County additive into that. And I think as we go on further into this could get adjusted somewhat, but I think we need to start to get going. So I make a motion up.
Okay. So we are approving the Waseca County opioid settlement advisory council bylaws. Is there a second?
There is.
Okay. It's been moved seconded to approve the bylaws. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So has there been any money spent yet?
You have authorized at this level a couple of different expenditures.
Yeah, that was is that the money that went?
The mental health navigator and then
Yeah.
to,
United Way.
yes, the mental health navigator through United Way and the trust. Thank you.
And then some salaries to offset their.
Yes, exactly. Public health, opioids, which you just approved the transfer for. So our opioid work in public health. What we have as the next agenda item is a request for proposals that we would like to open that pot of money to the community for the things that the community can see are gaps and areas that need supplementing. And so our second item today is been put together by the Opioid Advisory Council. Again, we've been meeting with the aim of developing priorities and a process for spending the Waseca County opioid settlement funds. So the council went back and forth around a whole myriad of different ways that could be done and talked a lot about our community size and whether smaller amounts should be done more frequently or we should have opportunities for larger amounts to be done. And at the end of the last meeting, we finally just said, we have to start somewhere. And so let's try. They would like to try a quarterly process for gathering, reviewing, and awarding proposals. The first process would open November 1st and close December 15th to make funds available then about 45 days after that for the community places that are awarded funding. So before those awards would be made, they would come back to you. So the committee would review the submittals, make recommendations and bring them to you for approval before their expenses would be incurred. Again, our community survey results show most of our public prioritize using this opioid settlement for prevention in youth, family, and community programs, followed closely by treatment and recovery by expanding treatment options. This prioritization would be considered as responses are scored, but it wouldn't mean that that would be the only places that we would see interest or that we would ask for awards to be made. We are estimating that a goal of about $50,000 for 2026 for addressing priority areas would be within scope for the way that our monies have been received and will continue to be received to really make impact, but also manage that funding for the long term. Questions?
Questions for Sarah?
I think we just wanted to get, Chairman, we just wanted to get this up, get it going. And again, this will be another fluid one that we probably work with later on if we see to tweak it someplace over the next year or so as well. But we want to get it out to the public, see what we have, what we're going to provide.
So will this be sent out to certain people then, or where you think there's a possible need for some gap money or?
Yeah, we have a list of interested parties that we've been compiling, that we've been sending different communications periodically, and we would certainly send it to that listserv, to that group. But additionally, it would be publicized. So this would go into the county paper, so that it would be known and open.
And that list of people is nonprofits and service folks who work in these areas. Even schools, churches, other organizations that serve people who are affected by opioids. Either needing to service people who struggle with this or in the prevention area. And so that we prevent drug use. Part of the wrestle with this has been just coming up with a basic structure where the Board of Commissioners, the timing of things so that the Board of Commissioners so that the committee has time to review things and make a recommendation, and so that we can get it before the Board of Commissioners before the money is awarded, because it's our job to award that money. It's a new process. So as Commissioner Milbreath said, almost certainly there'll be some tweaks along the way, but this is a good basic setup for us to go give it a try and to get some money out in the community to do some of the work as it is intended to be done through the settlement, because how this can be spent falls underneath that settlement. There's all kinds of, places that we should be looking at to use this money, because we get it and we get to spend it because of this lawsuit, and we have to spend it in alignment with what the terms of that settlement were. So there's a bunch of different layers here.
So do you think that this will be, a lot of these things that are going on in the community are obviously ongoing. They need money every year. So could it be applied that way or asked that, we need 10 grand a year?
You're right on where we have had conversations as a committee. What we have in the application is a request to these agencies to show sustainability. That said, we realize that there may not be a way to show sustainability. And so I'm not sure what our longevity and process will be, but the way that the RFP's been worded is it's an annual allocation. So at a minimum, those agencies would have to reapply, and then we would have to say, okay, why is it not sustainable? What are the things that are there other ways we could be funding this? How can we help our partners find other more permanent ways to do work? Or I guess for now, this is the way that we need to continue to do this work. So that's part of the conversation that we had is like, how do we really balance that need and also not sit on funding when we need to put it into the community.
And one other important issue is this money is not supposed to supplant other established funding. So we're not supposed to look at a program and go, oh, we're gonna use this to fund that program instead of levy. This is not supposed to supplant other funding that's already in place. It's supposed to supplement or give funds for innovation or new projects or those kind of things. So, you know, we can't decide we're gonna underwrite our whole public health budget instead of levying for it with this money. That is not the way, and that's part of the settlement language, not part of what we have just come up with. Settlement language was pretty particular on that.
Make a motion.
Your motion is to, for the request for proposal packet as in, how do they say that? In pretty much how it's given. There might be a few tweaks, I suppose, or just this draft pretty much.
Substantially in the form provided.
That's what I'm looking for. Substantially in the form.
Provided. That's my motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Crosby will second that.
Second to approve the proposal packet, the opioid settlement. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's good that we get some of this out into the community and see if it can make a difference.
Yes, and in the application packet that you saw, there are the additional dates for the other quarter deadlines. So if folks missed the first one or aren't prepared, have opportunities beyond December.
Because this opioid settlement is this the one that's about a 30-year deal? 18.
Our last distributor settlement, which is the longest tenured one, goes through 2038. It's about 27,000 a year. Walgreens is a 15-year one. Most of them, and there are multiple right now. Most of them ended in the mid 2030s. The Janssen one is a little earlier, like 2031, but most of them are a 10 to 15 year window.
Okay. All right, we will move on to Insure Navigator contract.
Yes, thank you. We are excited to share our certified community health worker has been really busy. She carries an active caseload for Healthy Families America program, which is our home visiting program for moms and families. And she also has been supporting our unit, providing translation services in a variety of places. We found a pattern in that many of her referrals and consultations result in requests for translating assistance for specifically MNsure applications for medical insurance. Currently, we are only able to bill for her translation services when she's serving someone who is already insured. And so we did some research and found that we could become a contracted partner with MNsure. And then after contracting, we could assign a certified community health worker as a navigator. Providing navigation services is reimbursable by MNsure. If the resident is eligible for coverage, so it's not a perfect system. But if we work with someone, it's determined they're eligible for coverage. And with the consent of the individual, we can then provide them with this navigation service to help them with the application and get reimbursed for that. We additionally could, as a navigator, provide services in person, virtually, or on the telephone. And so that would be a barrier that we would be able to eliminate for many of these folks. Right now, they have to come in person. in order to do that, if they need translation. Because she's bilingual in Spanish, she would be able to do Spanish applications on her own instead of having them try and navigate transportation barriers that we all know exist. Just talked about that earlier. So we would be able to capture some additional revenue with the successful applications that she would be finding. This is not a service being offered by Mid Prairie, just for clarity. There are a couple of local places the service is offered, but we do not in Spanish. And they're at some local banks or financial institutions. The reimbursement is $100 per individual enrolled and successful determination of eligibility. There are 20 hours of training required. Those hours are free, but we would, be supporting the salary of right now to do that. So we would love for you to be interested in having us move this forward. We did review the and the contracts that Minister provides online through Rusty already, and he said there were some issues with the contracts.
So our community health worker, nothing's changing. We're just getting, this contract is gonna bring in more revenue, right? We're not adding any staff expense or anything.
Nope, we're just trying to find another way that we can reimburse her time from somewhere else besides tax levy.
So this can reimburse some of that we're already doing.
Correct.
Plus we can do it now over the phone.
Correct.
So it should help staff time also.
Exactly. Should reduce staff time.
Okay.
That's our goal. So I see that I forgot to fill in the little recommendation line, but we're looking for a recommendation to move forward with that. I'm becoming a contracted provider.
Navigator, in-person assister. That's what we're after, this contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chair, I would move this.
You're a second?
I would second with the condition.
Okay.
That we relook at this in 6 months and see if we're able to put a fiscal or FTE impact on that as a number.
Would you?
May I make a suggestion that we wait a year? I think there's 20 hours of training that our navigator's gonna have to do. Let's go a calendar year. And by all means, I would naturally expect that that's gonna be some of the metrics that public health is gonna look at anyway as we budget for next year. And we'll be asking about this certainly by the time we start the budget process next year. But I think looking at a hard and fast 6 months is too short of time.
I want an update in 6 months.
I'm good with that. Absolutely.
I just wanted some form of
You bet.
information,
Absolutely.
please.
So just to clarify the original motion that
Yeah.
The original motion is modified to include a additional information in 6 months review.
okay, thanks.
Okay, so we got it all in there. Good. That's good with the second.
Yes.
So it's moved by Commissioner Moulter, second by Commissioner Hargit, to approve the navigator in-person assister contract with an update in 6 months and those financials in the year overview, full review in the year. Okay. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right. This is the last time for me today.
Infection Prevention Program for Reproductive Health.
Correct. So public health has for many years offered what we call the Double Dutch program, which is the distribution of educational materials paired with a small condom supply through the Minnesota Department of Health's condom distribution program. It's utilized quite a lot at our building. Yet we still continue to see some concerning rates of transmission for sexually transmitted diseases. They are holding steady with our area partners. However, we're hearing now more that there's continuing to be difficulty, if not experiencing more difficulty in folks receiving testing services. Those are services that are either provided by a medical provider that you have been assigned to, or through our free clinics in Mankato, primarily Open Doors, who folks end up being referred to, or and kind of maybe even further than that. However, we've had some folks saying, it's taking me kind of a long time to get in. We're concerned about that because we don't want our numbers to look different than our area counties in our area. So we've begun some researching to look at whether or not we could supply these testing services with education and referral for treatment. We would begin by focusing on chlamydia and gonorrhea, as other diseases are a little more complex for the reimbursement and treatment process. The idea would be that nursing staff would meet with clients, perform testing, and provide education on prevention and protection methods. This is a service we're not providing in any way, shape, or form. And before we go too far out of our normal box, we wanted to talk with you about whether this is something that you know is a need or that you have interest in pursuing. As with all programs, until you're doing them, there's some question about what the reimbursements truly look like, but we know we can get some data from other public health agencies. They will not have the same geography as us, so there's always a limit to how we can move that data from one county to another, but certainly we know that's one of the questions you would have. Are there other things that you would like us to research when we think about this? Other things that you would need to know? And then if you are interested in learning more, we would move forward. But the time, so the other piece that is important is we only have so many people in our staff. We do know that we have a decline in our senior client caseload. Half of that staff is nurses. And so they actually were the staff that came forward and said, I think are part of the staff that came forward and said, I think we need to look at this. I think I would have some time in my day to do these services should they be needed. So again, trying to find another small pocket. This is not a big pocket of folks where we would be able to reduce a barrier and also provide service without increasing tax levy. Instead, generating some reimbursable income instead.
Sir, I know we've had this data from the community health board perspective because it was kind of a rivalry between Waseca and Waseca County about that. Is this something that is going to be a joint venture, or is this going to be standalone or county owned?
At the moment, the research we've done is as a standalone, but that is something that as we are doing other investigations along those lines of what is partnership and what is county specific, it's certainly something we could ask.
I guess, yeah, my concern is adding work. And then a year from now, you need staff. Because this is a bigger deal than thought it was,
Right.
So what are you asking today for? Is it just a recommendation to start the process, or is it a recommendation to look into it more?
It is just asking for a recommendation that you are comfortable with us doing more investigation. It is not for you to say we can go ahead and start providing services. Again, this is well outside of our normal operations, so a considerable change to what we would be offering. We wanted to not be too far down the road if that was not an interest you shared.
It says Waseca County continues to experience concerning increases.
Oh, I think I haven't added, it's just concerning. The increases were supposed to go concerning rates.
Oh, so it hasn't really increased?
It hasn't increased the availability of and access to services is what we're concerned about seeing decrease. Does that make sense? So we're holding steady, but as our medical community changes, the rates, if you can't get in for treatment, could easily change rapidly.
Go ahead.
I appreciate our public health staff, looking at local needs and thinking about flexing. Particularly in this area of public health. We should look at the data. We should look at the local needs. And while we don't want to run after every fire, we do need to be able to make adjustments. We can't do the same thing all the time. Things change within our community that shift the needs, and exploring how those needs are shifting is important. I thoroughly expect that we are going to not only see continued but increasing issues with continuum of care in not just this particular area around reproductive health, but in lots of areas. And I appreciate that we're looking at it. I absolutely support looking at this. I'll be interested in some of the trend data on the number of cases in the county, and without a doubt, the longer people have to wait to get tested or get treated, certainly increases the chance of spreading. And so this is like, this may look like providing medical services, but it really is a prevention piece. And so I appreciate where this is going. I'm very interested in learning more from what you learn.
I think that's where I was going to go next with Commissioner Walter's statement that, how are the schools still handling this? I mean, prevention is job one, after the fact that's what we're chasing for this, and I don't know, do they have pamphlets? Do they, how's the school nurse handling this? What are they doing for sex education? Is this, I don't know. I've been out of school a couple of years. I don't know. But this seems like it's, I mean, yes, it's good to look into this, but I think it's kind of like after the fact. I mean, how do you, I don't know, I'm kind of torn between this.
Yeah, to me, you've already got, you're already educating, you're trying to educate, and you've got the condoms there, right? How much more can you do? And then now people ignore the education and the prevention. They ignore that, and now we want to help them further. And that's what gets frustrating for me is now, you can't fix stupid sometimes.
And I'm not going to disagree with you, Chair. I am not, because there are always people who willfully proceed ahead at their own peril.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna call out a couple fallacies that we automatically assume. We are automatically assuming that this is a problem with our young people. And I'll be really interested to see the statistics broken out by age, because I happen to know that sexually transmitted diseases among seniors is a big issue in a lot of places. And I'd be interested to see if that isn't a case here. And by seniors, I don't mean seniors in high school. I mean 65 and older. I mean 75 and older. So this falls into senior care. Oh yeah, totally. Totally serious. Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
It's significantly higher than you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Youth are not the dumb ones here, folks.
Well, I wasn't referring to age.
No, but I'm basing this on Commissioner Hargis' comment about what are they doing in the high schools. And we have to take a holistic view of what is happening. I will say one of the good news is that all of Waseca County schools did the student health survey this last spring. And so we will have some data to help us on the youth side to look at this issue. It won't be trend data because they haven't all been doing the survey, but this is one of the reasons why that survey is so important. We getting the other data on this will probably be more challenging because not everybody stays here in Waseca County that lives in Waseca County to get healthcare for these things. And they go to Mankato, they go to Owatonna. So being able to figure that out is another place where we need good data in public health to help us make wise decisions. Another reason for those regional data models. But
Is there a possibility that we could get some data prior to,
Absolutely.
Yep.
agreeing to this or signing? I'd like to see a little more data for our area.
Certainly come back with more information.
Is there, I should ask, is there a timeline on this?
No.
Okay.
am I understanding correctly that the action for today really is just to have public health continue to explore what this would look like?
Yes, but it leans into exactly what Commissioner Christopherson was stating. We don't know what we don't know. There would be a concern to just blanketly approve without understanding the staff and cost implications. So the ask really is to understand the staff and cost implications and then ultimately come back with a recommendation based upon those findings of X.
That makes sense. I'll make that motion after this.
Do we put a time? 6 months or just whenever you get the data collected?
It shouldn't be that long.
Good.
So,
Moved by Commissioner Melba to continue research on this topic. Is there a second?
second.
Second by Commissioner Malter. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much for your time today.
All right,
Sir.
thank you, sir.
Favor.
All right, we got one more action item. Chris, approval of cybersecurity supplemental insurance.
One of the last statement, we don't know, we don't know. It's, learn from other people's experiences. Duties out today, so. Just to kind of go over, what we're looking at our insurance and what had happened from other counties, things that have been going on, like we've seen recently, like St. Paul. And also, more local county. She had gone to the MINSA, the Minnesota County Information Technology Leaders Association conference, and one of the other counties that got hit did a follow-up aftermath of being hit with. I'm still not really sure on all the details and what's publicly available yet, actually, but we did find a number of things to look for to work, and in this case, what insurance, and the insurance that we have is not good coverage for what we need. Looking at supplemental insurance to cover better, as it's always been stated, not if, but when something like this happens for us. And I'll just read a statement here that she had. Just wanted to share this with you as I shared the lessons learned at our Minnesota conference. Mauer County cyber incident of June 18th. Threat actor gained access through a dictionary attack using users' credentials to get an account for a VPN access. That was a weak password. We're actually reviewing some of our stuff here now because of that. They did not have a MFA. We do enforce it. They pulled the internet router connection from the state immediately. The sheriff's department was segregating. They were found to be okay. They're using Beam to back up their software with air gap backups. We did purchase Beam. I currently do have a setup at our disaster recovery location to do our backups to a immutable backup solution. It's not air gapped.
but you can't delete it, you can't modify it. The only thing you can do is destroy the actual appliance in order to get rid of it. So that's currently what we're using. It took about 4 days for MCIT, who is also our primary insurance at this point, to deploy their contract to be on site. They did not have supplemental insurance at all. All county employees were sent home for 2 days and working on the co-op plans. They did pay ransomware for data suppression only. There was no signal that the dollar amount was paid on that. There's risk of doing that if the person that did this is actually on the FACO list, then you become liable for some pretty stiff penalties. So additional comments that came from Cameron Hurd, who was just a new IT director there, I believe. Technology is continuing to, is a continuing investment. It's not a one lump sum implementation. You wouldn't buy a grader or a plow truck and then forego repairs or preventative maintenance on it. There's no long-term convenience gain by denying IT the ability to further secure environments that they support. Like telling IT no to an MFA implementation because it adds steps and convenience to the user's workflow, hindering their long-term ability to protect BGIS, HIPAA, and public data. Buying the supplemental insurance, I know it's painful, but the cost of lost wages, recovery, physical, mental well-being of your team, IT team, outweighs the premium cost tenfold. I lived in an office for over a month. I don't remember too well, kind of a blur, only being home for about 3 to 4 hours a day. Had we had supplemental insurance and got a team deployed on day 0, it would have likely been a week or 2. The first few days post-incident are crucial to timely recovery. Like it was said at the conference, we were not ransomware experts. Having SMEs on site, running incident command and making sure that we're still kicking and getting the data they need to continue an investigation and remediation is more important than we can explain. He does not want to wish those conditions on anyone. I'm not entirely sure. Did you have this entire packet that was listed in the agenda going over it? Okay.
The cool parts, I mean, there's some more in that too. And thank you, Chris, for
What?
cool part, the quote.
Okay.
Not the cool.
None of this is cool.
So just, yeah, supplementing a little bit what Chris is rightly stating there. I mean, these attacks are getting more and more intuitive. That's plays a little bit of a factor in that too. When we talk about the sophistication of dictionary attacks compared to what we would normally have experienced in just brute force attacks, where algorithm runs and just goes through a lit A, then AA, then AAA. Dictionary is what it's stating. It's like, here are the most commonly used passwords that people are going to use. And it's just running through that list. And then it runs through intuitive variations of that list where special characters may be used. So the job keeps getting harder and harder. And MCIT will tell us you need additional supplemental coverage. Because what we have right now caps up at about $500,000 for MCIT, not about, it is $500,000. This will extend up to $3 million. And there are various things, consolidated under this umbrella, what costs are attributed to what action, etc. But there's just so much more complexity happening in this world. Mauer did not disclose what the ransom amount is, which is fine, but we know it's significant just to get it turned back on. The weird thing about this, in other presentations I've listened to from MCIT and FBI and their cyber crimes, is there is a significant honor among the thieves in these events, because they know if they don't turn the data back, people just won't pay. So the likelihood of them restoring data or releasing data is very, very, very high, but it isn't cheap. And obviously some of the things identified here in terms of with 4 days for MCIT to get a contractor on site, and some of that stuff just can't happen.
But if you pay, then that fuels the fire too.
Correct.
Which goes to the subject of double extortion. Yeah, I pay it to give it back to you, but we still have a copy of it. You don't want us to release that case again.
Which is why that air gap piece is important, because when you say air gap, we're talking about kind of like this technological bridge that's separating a good copy of data that they can grab and encrypt. So they may grab this set, but they can't get across the gap to get to this set of backed up data.
Can I add one thing too, that I know that in talking to the Robert County attorney just 2 weeks ago, she said that there's still things that they can't do because like the BCA, for example, won't connect to them again so that they can be charged. So they're doing paper complaints right now.
That's time consuming, very time consuming.
It's not as secure.
And it's because they got hacked and now the BCA
So
doesn't
the
trust their
BCA doesn't,
system.
correct, doesn't trust the system, even though they've had someone come in and say, we've gone through, we've rebuilt the system, they're protected now. But the BCA is still saying, sorry, we're not gonna let you connect. So I don't know what's going to resolve with that, but that was just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and all a result of one simple weakly constructed password without multi-factor authentication as, the saving. So we talk all of the time that the biggest risk is you, right? Not commissioners, but.
Oh, no, totally.
I think it's correctly. It's not IT that's typically going to be the weak point here. It's the users that IT is trying to manage and to not be their own worst enemies. So we are always going to be the weakest link in any of this. So those additional redundancies we can have in the back end is all the more helpful and absolutely necessary in this aspect. It's an additional cost, obviously, but it is absolutely an essential cost of doing business going forward, because this is just more and more commonplace. It's happened multiple places in Minnesota this year, let alone across the country. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry in terms of the criminal network, and it's not going to slow down.
So answer me this. They ask for ransom. You wire money to them. Don't we know where we're wiring that money? And don't we know, why can't we trace that money?
Typically, it's done in cryptocurrency. And to some extent with some of these, they can be tracked as long as the accounts are being monitored, typically by the CIA or FBI. In that case, yeah, they can associate it with a group that's using those accounts. But not always.
I mean, you can create a digital wallet on a thumb drive
Yeah, anybody can.
and have millions upon millions of dollars in cryptocurrency
Untraceable.
and take it anywhere you want. And
How is it untraceable?
The only time it's being able to be tracked is when you're actually in the process of making a transaction.
Right.
At that point, when it's at rest, it can be in your pocket and nobody knows who it was unless they actually tracked you making a process at that time on camera or on the network. Once you meet with that transaction, we don't know where you are until the next time you do another transaction.
This isn't like the old bank robbers on their horses. We can't catch up.
Wouldn't you send your ransomware with a worm in it?
Yeah.
Because it too,
In fact,
Is that-
If you're just sending money, you can't really take anything else to it. And
they got.
the stance generally is don't pay.
well, if we did it to ourselves with all this crypto money or whatever you're talking about. Yeah.
I don't own any crypto, so don't blame me.
well, even outside of the cryptocurrency, yes, it's maybe an easier medium of exchange, but even outside of that, there's for decades been intuitive ways to mask the destination and
with all of the,
Sweet, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
Caribbean, Caribbean.
Yes, king of the counts, yes. But, I mean, there's tunneling software readily available for anyone. That, as far as you're concerned, I can be sitting here, but my connection is Uzbekistan or whatever else. I mean, there's just so many different ways of trying to unravel this, that the best solution is defense and never having to talk about it. So that's the hope.
So if we get this insurance, then this gal will come in and we have to have certain parameters. I mean, they're gonna make us do certain things to have insurance.
And we've already done certain things
Right. We're
in
doing,
preparation to be approved.
but they'll come in and make sure that we're following what they feel is for us to have that.
Yeah, there
insurance.
were stipulations for a couple of changes that they already asked us to make ahead of time before the deadline of being instituted, I think, in January. But we're already at about 90%.
Okay.
One of the things, like an example, is like if you're off network, you're not on the VPN, you got your phone, you're on vacation, you want to check your mail, you have to use some phone MFA to get connected to our mail. As an example.
Okay.
We aren't very far away from BCA, other state entities, federal entities of saying you have to have a minimal coverage amount of this. You have to have a minimal response time of this, because it's just too prevalent. So this is just getting slightly ahead of that curve.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we go with the CFC insurance carrier for $12,403.30. Here.
Second, or
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the supplemental insurance package. Is there any discussion?
Just a couple more comments. First of all, thanks to our IT department. I know, IT has come, for Waseca County has come a long way in the last 5 years. Some of the COVID money helped us get a start on that. Michael had some forethought for us there to get us going. I know additional staff in IT has been critical to moving us forward. Not that they'll ever hear it, but thanks to Malheur County for sharing their experience so that we can know what our risk is.
For sure.
$12,000 and some odd, $12,000 and some odd dollars is not chump change. But if you look at the cost of what we could incur in lost time and lost ability to serve, that really is a relatively small amount compared to what it would cost us if we had a significant breach, even a small breach. People not being able to work. All our systems are integrated. We have to be able to have continuous service. So thanks for bringing it. Yeah, thanks for all your work to get us ready to go there. Appreciate it.
Oh, as to what's up on the screen right there, there was an additional option to increase the cybercrime limit from 250,000 to 500,000. There's that right screen. A little further down, yeah, that's that screen right there. There was an additional like $1,300 to change it from that one option.
It's all good. I think in our additional conversations, the recommendation is all I stated is.
So you wanted it stated?
This is what Chris was talking. They also had the option to increase cybercrime limits up to 500,000. So of this total $3 million, it's broken out into several buckets up here. Okay. As you can see, the liability limits as broken out in some of these various categories. But these are ongoing conversations and considerations. It's getting it implemented.
if they're able to get your information, they know what you have for insurance, so there you go.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's a school of thoughts as well too with that.
This person should be a priority target because their checkbook just got bigger. So, I get it. It feels a little like dog chasing its own tail.
Or don't bother with them, they have supplemental insurance where this other doesn't.
Well, I mean, the technology companies themselves are loving it because they're, whether it's Veeam or whomever else, I mean, they're massive, massive companies that like, well, we're about the only option you have. So there's, yeah, it's a gross feeling to an extent because it's like everyone has a shared interest in this being a bigger problem.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. There's no more discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. She carries. Thanks for the presentation, Chris. Good job. All right, administrative update.
Thanks. I'll try to wrap up pretty quickly. Just trying to get some confirmation of district attendance tomorrow. I'll type up some county updates and notes. There's a separate action item on, not action item, but discussion point item about shotgun only ordinance. It's been kind of a moving date. Originally, we had until the end of this year to have an ordinance in place. The DNR changed it somewhat to the beginning of March. And I think that'll be part of the conversation tomorrow is because there's like two different dates floating out there. People aren't exactly sure what it should be, but it seems to be that we have until March 1st at this juncture. But all that to say that I haven't been directed to bring a draft ordinance forward. So by default, next year, the shotgun only ordinance law that's been in place for 83 years roughly would be lifted. So the last direction I was hearing was we're not implementing anything. We're seeing what 2026 looks like, and if needed in 2026 going into 2027. So that's my understanding. Just wanted to communicate that in case.
I think that was kind of our discussion. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So that will be reflected in our comments for District 7 tomorrow as well too.
Too bad they didn't pilot that in some other county. You can see how it goes.
It's piloted in several other states at least. So there is a lot of data out there. Okay. There's a lot of data.
Okay.
Who is not able to attend tomorrow? Maybe that's easier.
Go here. AMC.
Yeah.
AMC.
Tomorrow.
We're just gonna stay home. We'll be relaxed. Yeah, good problem. Get all popcorn here.
Okay, well, that's great. Anyone that in particular wants to navigate those discussion points that I can work with?
Vice chair is leading the meeting, so it's next in line.
You're in a second.
I don't care, whoever wants to do it.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, no problem. Building committee updates, just briefly, continuing to work with Waseca on finalization of schematic design. We just this morning forwarded from Brian Telford the kind of final schematic design set. So we're still on track in our timeline, which is good. And ultimately that timeline will lead into two-phase bidding processes. June of 2026 and then probably August of 2026, which really is broken down simply in terms of the footings, the dirt work, the earthwork in phase 1 to prepare for winterization in the actual construction elements, building construction elements of phase 2. We'll also let them order some of what they would need to order. That has a little bit longer lead times as well. Just to share quickly, just some renderings of where it was at. Date, these things can change pretty much
on everything, but most of what you see will look slightly different just because decisions will be made as we go. But I just wanted to at least give a couple of renderings that their team had put together.
And just to clarify, those panels in front of the windows are uniform in color. It's just that they do the sunlight from a different
Yeah.
direction that makes it look like it's not all uniform, but
Sure. Windows. That's what we got so far. Really, there's a lot of.
That's the north side then.
mhm. Northeast corner, right there.
A little idea of what the elevation will look like. This will inevitably end up looking a little different, but again, it's wanting to see the major drivers and kind of convey how some of the screening may work and tiering may work, landscaping with the radio support buildings, where the generator would be screened, things like that.
Bonding.
Monday,
Yeah, what do we think about, we had talked about a two-stage bonding or all in one, and we kind of went back and forth on that.
yeah, Tammy and I probably need to get together and chat with Bruce again. He's given a lot of good insight throughout the process. I'm trying to think of what his last update was, but we haven't talked to him for probably a month at this point in time. The last conversation, if I remember correctly, was looking at spring 2026 as that first issuance, unless the board wanted to look at something else. He even had suggested you could look at a three-part phased financing, 25, 26, and 27. Not necessarily recommending that, just essentially some of their options.
Spreading out your risk as far as.
Yeah, so last month, at that point in time, he had stated it right now, just kind of rate checking. We had a 20-year bond, bank qualified, excuse me. True interest cost would be in the ballpark of 3.75%, so not terrible at all. Although giving the caveat that it's impossible to know where the market will be in the next 6 to 9 to 12 months. That's always been the case. Could go down 25 basis points. It could go up 25 basis points. We just aren't really sure. After the Fed made their adjustment, we saw, kind of the average 7-day yields for Magic start to dip down. Now they've come back up slightly again as they found some stabilization to say, okay, it really wasn't that big of a deal. But they tend to overestimate the impact anytime there's a large scale change that's made, especially at the Fed. And then after a couple of months, it starts to right size and recover again. So it's never going to be possible for us to ask Chris, or I was looking at Chris, Bruce, you can ask Chris too, he probably won't know the answer either, but Bruce, exactly what the rate's going to be 12 months from now in order to make that decision. So we're always kind of trying to hit a moving target to an extent to get the best gap coverage we want in terms of levy impact and sustainability and rate relationship. But there isn't anything terribly concerning, at least at this point in time. But so to back up and answer the question a different way, I wouldn't consider anything likely until spring of 2026 for an issuance, but we can rekindle that conversation with Bruce as well. Anything else to add to that, Tammy?
I think we also discussed briefly just waiting until the expenses start to come in, and then we can reimburse from the bond proceeds.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But
Cool.
it's kind of variable.
So just pulling up his quick talking points to your question.
He had stated that unless bond and investment rates drop significantly over the next 2 to 3 years, he didn't think it makes sense to call any of our existing debt. It's cheap money, so let it ride. Bullet points being using cash towards the Justice Center makes a lot more sense. Again, at least given current bonded investment rates. Here's my first blush concept. Early mid 2026, issue the first 17 million. This will be a non-bank qualified issue due to it being over 10 million for the calendar year. Early 2027, issue up to 10 million as the cleanup achieving BQ status under 10 million for 2027. So 10 million under bank qualified. Whenever needed, spend up to 5 million of cash, bringing the total project funding to 31 to 32 million. Or you could spend the cash before issuing the cleanup bond, whatever makes the most sense at that point in time. So ultimately, if you spend the cash ahead of that second issuance, you know exactly in theory what you would have to bond for cleanup. And you would be committed to a larger bond than needed. That's probably could also issue the first 17 million still this year, and then the cleanup of 10 in 2026 or 2027. Your choice. So there's more options and timing in there, but there isn't a huge sense of urgency in this year versus spring of 2026 is the broader takeaway. But we'll touch base with them again and see if anything's changed in the last month. As of November, we'll want to get back into some budget conversations. Not a terrible amount has changed between the preliminary levy certification and now. There'll be some adjustments likely to the library based upon recent conversations happening both with this group and with the joint group between us and the Sewer County. That may be something that ends up getting brought up tomorrow as well. It was a lot of the discussion that we have in a regional administrator meeting. And again, just very much prove the concept that it's kind of all over the place with how counties operate these relationships with cities, etc. Treats on the streets Thursday evening from 5 to 7. Interested in a commissioner or two if you have the availability. Okay, thanks. So we've participated in that every year since I've been here, and have a display and some candy available.
On that top, Michael, the neighborhood service center usually uses the dog wash center, but apparently they're gonna do their own.
Okay.
So I suggested that they put a table up by us.
Sure.
That's all right.
Yeah. And Sheriff's Posse.
Yes, we will be there.
Sweet. Yeah, so we'll make that work just fine. So I'll plan on Commissioner Bilbreth. Thank you for that. Tina's out today, but a number of collaborative projects happening right now. We have something that we're doing with every city right now in the county, which is good. So hoping to see some of those take root in the upcoming weeks and months. A lot of interest right now in some existing spaces in town. Waseca, two larger projects that we're hoping to get across the finish line there. So hopefully we'll be able to share some more pointed information soon about those. Yeah.
And are some of those projects, can you attribute some of that to Tina's efforts?
Yes.
Okay.
Good. One in particular, well, two across all of the counties, yes, a handful of those. And one is we're just partnering with the cities ongoing efforts too and trying to be part of the solution. So I think there will be something that comes back to this group to consider in the future if there's any kind of incentivization that is sought from prospective businesses. And the only other thing I was going to ask of you in that realm is property inventory. We have, when we get requests from deed, it is very often a very short turnaround. So, example, we'll get a request from a prospective business that is high level in the industrial space. They need XYZ number of acres in proximity to highway, etc. So for us to be able to respond to those requests for information, at that point in time, we have to have a proper inventory, or at least an inventory of willing partners that are looking to actively sell property or land for development purposes. We have some, and have a few contacts already in the Rolodex, so to speak. But if there are others that you are aware of or hear of, by nature of your role in conversation, please let us know, because that is very significant in our ability to move on to the next stage.
Just that, you probably would like to have inventories, or if there are in even our smaller town.
Yeah.
Janesville, Marion,
Yes.
if there's available land for like growth.
Yeah, especially when they are somewhat adjacent to highways. So 13, 14, 83, whatever, 30, yeah. Okay, absolutely. And if it's 40 acres, awesome. If it's 300 acres, awesome. It's just not even a commitment or like letter. It's just this persons are interested in seeing a development project for the city of New Richland or Waldorf or whomever.
Willing to entertain ideas.
Yeah. Okay. I've chatted regularly with some people in and around Waseca. It's like, if it's this, and this, or this, we're interested in selling our land. So that would be great. I think that's all I have. You have the HR update in front of you. You hired a couple of individuals. Those are ones that most of them were as part of our transition community corrections. So we'll bring them this November 4th meeting to say hello.
Okay, so it's Megan and Mackenzie.
And then Emily, our new dispatcher.
Jensen.
So a couple other positions, but overall recruiting going pretty well. I think that's all I have, unless you have anything else for me.
Okay, anything for Michael? Commissioner reports. It's, Nathan Melbrook, let's just fill the last couple of weeks. It's the last meeting. You're not ready.
I need to get up to the right one. We haven't done it for a while, so let's take it.
No, we didn't do it last meeting.
So if I go back to the first part of October 6th, I had Arts Center meeting. On Tuesday, we had a board meeting, then we had, we had the two counties discussion on library, and then we had township meeting that night. I attended. The 13th, MPAC policy meeting. Tuesday, I had tourism meeting. On Wednesday, we had a chamber gathering in the morning, and EDA right after that. On the 15th, on the 20th, I had last night neighborhood service center meeting, and brings us today with the board meeting.
Good, thank you. Commissioner Hardy. What do you go back to? Sorry, it's just the 7th.
The 7th. Tuesday the 7th, 7:30 Woodville Town Hall. Wednesday the 8th, 8 a.m. Public Works. 2:15 in the East Annex, Secretary of State Steve Simon was here. 6 p.m. Waseca County Historical Society. 13th. With Seth meeting, 2:30, Fair Board at 7 p.m. 15th, 12:30 Building Committee meeting. And last night, I attended the Reeds Lake Aquatic Information Meeting in the East Annex here. That brings us to today.
Thank you. Commissioner Drowsy.
Monday the 6th,
There was AMC lunch and learn. On economic development. That I attended and. Yeah, the 7th was the board meeting at CHP and St. Mary's Township in the evening. Wednesday, the 8th was Region 9 in the evening and Highway in the morning. Thursday the 9th. SWCD, but I didn't go to that. You went to that. He went to that. Thursday the 9th, there was also a Midbury Zoom meeting that I attended.
It was a special board.
That was a special board meeting, yes. There's so much going on. Pardon?
Wasn't that a closed session?
Yeah,
So how did you do that?
Because you couldn't,
because you weren't there.
And that was Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay, so you filled in for me.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the last minute.
So each county had 2 people there.
Okay.
14th was Wilton Township. 15th was EDA in the morning with Sparrow in the evening, and in between that Michael's office with Doug and Tina. And that brings us to today. Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Walter.
All right. On the 6th, I had a staff leadership MDH pre-retreat check-in. 7th board meeting, CHB meeting, and then both county boards met to have some discussions about the library. On the 8th, I headed up to Hennepin Technical College to chair the SHAC retreat, which went from 10 o'clock into the evening on the 8th, and then continued on the morning of the 9th until 2 in the afternoon. Then I made my way down to Owatonna for the special closed session for the for Min Prairie, and then attended SWCD here in Waseca after that. Friday, Melissa and I shared a ride up to the Twin Cities for the AMC board meeting. I had a short online meeting for the HRA for a grant that needed to be addressed. At the AMC board, I had the AMC board meetings from 10 till 2:30, and our human resources director was at that meeting as the incoming president of their affiliate organization, and so she spoke well, and I was happy to have her represent Waseca County and all the human resources people across the state. The 13th, WITSEF meeting in the afternoon, and then library board at 5. And then, on Tuesday, I met with Steve Krause in the morning to talk about a couple of things happening with fiber across the county, particularly in a couple of our cities, and how we might leverage that to get some more service in the greater part of our county. I had a Min Prairie Finance Committee meeting that afternoon. On the 15th, had a meeting a short meeting at 12:30 on the judicial building, possible judicial building, talking about some security issues in Michael's office. Then I made my way over to Mankato, and just so you know, former Commissioner Colleen land camera from Blue Earth County. Her youngest son passed away. And so I went over to the visitation for that on Wednesday.
Sure.
Yeah. Thursday and Friday was time with grandchildren in combines and trucks, all the fun stuff. You know, that's important to do. Sunday, I was at the Waseca Arts Center to be on a panel talking about arts in rural places. And as part of a nationwide conference that's happening in Minneapolis, they bussed folks down to come and see our art center and talk about what art looks like in rural places and how important it is. And so that was kind of a fun group, very creative. Yesterday, SHAC leadership meeting online, and then up to the cities in the afternoon for a joint leadership team meeting in Bloomington, and then back here just in time to go to the Reeds Lake invasive species meeting. And here we are today.
All right, thank you. And mine is short this week. Since the 7th, I went to a P&Z subcommittee meeting on the 15th and Sparrow that afternoon. That's pretty much all I did the last couple of weeks. So
Picked a lot of corn.
picked a lot of corn or fixed a lot of problems.
Well, there is that too.
Seems like that's what we're doing most of the time.
Hmm.
Go ahead, Freedom.
I have one more thing, and I can't find my email, so I don't know if it was the personal or the county email. Mikhail called again and wants to know how many people will be attending the marketplace. Yeah.
Next Monday.
Or he would like
Where do we meet?
to have a count.
I think we're meeting on site.
On site?
At noon. And I said that we would give representation. I said I'd come if I can, but we'll have commissioners there.
I am planning to be there.
You're planning. Is everybody planning?
Trying to, yeah.
Okay.
I'll be in late.
Huh?
I'm up.
You're out of state, so we got Commissioner Malter trying. Is he trying or he'll go?
I'll be there.
Okay. And I will try to get there also.
So 3 confirmed, 1 hoping to, I'll just email them now for reflect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Maybe 3 or 4. 4 at the most.
Okay.
Okay, now we don't want to adjourn, right, till after the closed session.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, one question for the sheriff. You know, you had that 2 and 3 study out there. Is there a way, on road 2 and 3, on the stop sign, is there a way for you to get a summary to us by next meeting?
Yes, I will do that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, that's completed in that study.
Just on what the sheriff's office did. Oh, just on what the sheriff.
No, not the highway.
Okay,
They did their own. You got it.
sure. Okay, perfect. All right, then I would move us into closed session. Okay, we are back into, our board meeting. And I would look for a motion to,
I would make a motion to, follow the directives given during our closed session.
is there a second?
Second by Crosby.
Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So if there's nothing more to come before the board, I would look for a motion
By Crosby.
Second.
all in favor, say aye. We are adjourned.
You did.
It's good.